required to go door to door and preach the message for so many hours a week according to their level of commitment. One who is in a part-time commitment may be required 10 hours a week. One who is in a full-time commitment might be required 40 hours a week. So if one is not doing that door-to-door work, preaching the message, then you'll be called in for questioning at the Kingdom Hall. What's the matter? Do you not believe anymore? Do you not realize the importance of this, that it has to be offered to the public, that people need to know this? So we have that obligation to follow the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, in giving the message. Finally, in this regard, I should now talk about some of the methods by which we might deliver the message, the principles by which we operate. Because I think all of what I've just said was quite unnecessary. You know that already. We're supposed to give the message, right? That's the bottom line. And we all know that already. And now you're going to ask me, okay, how? Well, let's look at some of the principles that are mentioned in the Quran. First, in general, one is supposed to give the message with hikmah, with wisdom. In Surah 16, verse 125, Allah addresses the Prophet, peace be upon him, and says, "Ud'u ila sabili rabbika bil hikmah wal maw'izatil hasanah wajadilhum billati hiya ahsan." Invite to the way of your Lord with hikmah, with wisdom. Al-Maw'izatul Hasana. Al-Maw'izatul Hasana is the beautiful preaching. And then argue with them in a way that is most gracious. So three principles there. First, al-hikmah is understandably enough wisdom. But classical Muslim scholars say that al-hikmah, the wisdom, is to put the right thing in its right place at the right time. So if you're going to give the message of Islam, then you have to know how to give the right message to the right person at the right time. See, there's a right time. In Surah Yusuf, we read about Yusuf alayhi salam. He's in prison. And his prison mates ask him to interpret their dreams. So he says, before the food comes, as it normally comes, I'm going to tell you the interpretation of your dreams. And then he starts to tell them about the oneness of God. See, what he has done there is that he has first put them at ease. Suppose they say, okay, tell us the interpretation of our dreams. And he says, okay, let me tell you about the oneness of God. They won't be listening. You see, because all they want to hear is the interpretation of their dreams. But once he has put them at ease, he has said to them, okay, before the food comes as it normally comes, I will tell you. So now they're going to listen because at any time he's going to tell them. And they don't know when exactly, but they know that's soon enough. So they're going to listen. Now that he has a captive audience, he can give them his message. And they're going to listen. Sometimes we don't put people at ease and give them a chance to listen. We want to give them all of the medicine all at once because we didn't give them in the past. So we say, okay, we neglected 4 days of medicine, give them the whole week's supply all at once, and then it's going to go down well. Well, it may not go down well. It may actually cause some upset stomach or something. So you have to give them a dose at a time. You have to make sure that people are willing to listen. And talk to them, as Imam Ali radiallahu anhu said, speak to people according to the measure of their understanding. So if their understanding can take this much, and that's how much you give them, not more than that, because they won't be able to understand what you are saying. So somebody is coming from the Abrahamic traditions, you can talk to them about the Abrahamic faith. Somebody who's outside of that, it doesn't make any sense to now talk to them about Ibrahim alayhi salam, because in that case, now you have to start by explaining who is Ibrahim alayhi salam. It's like telling a joke and then you have to now explain what the joke is. Then by that time, nobody's going to laugh. So you have to tell them something that they already understand. You see, the Quran is doing this, in fact. The Quran starts with things that people already know and they understand, and then the Quran shows them where that leads to. So we do the same thing. Start with that which is common. In Surah Al-Imran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us how to call the people of the book to that which is common. Say to them, تعالوا إلى كلمة سواء بيننا وبينكم أن لا نعبد إلا الله ولا نشرك به شيئا ولا يتخذ بعضنا بعضا أربابا من دون الله. Say to the people of the book, come to a common word between us and you, that we do not take any for God except Allah, and we do not associate and partner any with Him. See? So these are things that they can at least conceptually agree to. Yeah, that seems right. And then you can go one step further from that. At least we have something in common. Often we don't look for what is common, we look for what is different. And that's a mistake. You can see two brothers talking with each other and they're arguing because of the 10 things that one said, there was one thing that we don't agree with. So we're going to pick on that one thing and argue with him because we have to settle that one thing, forgetting that we agree on the 9. So I said to the brother, brother, you said a lot that I agree with. We're really on the same page with so much. There's that wonderful thing that we can discuss whenever you're ready. Let's think about it, talk about it, and study it some more. And so we have to sometimes put things in perspective. Call to that which is common. Begin with that which is common, and then you can go one step further. Many Muslims think that in talking to others, we have to somehow find the way in which to prove them wrong. But the Quran actually instructs us to start with that in which they are actually right. For example, Jews and Christians proclaim that there is only one God. And that is the same God that Muslims believe in. Of course, Christians have a different understanding of what that one God is. But they still proclaim that they believe in one God. So what does the Quran say? In Surah 29, verse 46, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala instructs us that we are to say to them, Ilahuna wa ilahukum wahid. We believe in that which is revealed to you, and that which is revealed to us, and your God and our God is one. And it is to Him that we submit. So that is our message to them. Now it's for them to think, how is it that they have said something different? It's for them to say, well, wait a minute, but you're missing the 3 in there. And if they say that, well then we have a chance now to respond to them. Notice the way in which the Quran is actually very, very conservative in dealing with the other ideas. Think about the Quran saying again and again, La yukallifu Allahu nafsan illa wus'aha. Allah does not hold the soul responsible except for that which is capable of doing. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala repeats again and again, La taziru waziratun wizra ukhra. One person is not going to bear the burden of another. Why doesn't the Quran directly confront the issue of whether or not somebody dies for your sins? I don't find the Quran directly speaking to that issue. Only in this indirect way. As a general principle that everybody could agree with, nobody is going to bear the burden of someone else in terms of the final judgment. To put it a different way, Allah will not take the burden of one person and put it on another person, an innocent person. Allah is not going to charge an innocent person with the guilt and the crime of another. It's such a basic and simple principle that everyone can agree with. So you see, the Quran is putting things in a way that people can agree with, even if they have a different belief. So instead of arguing with their belief, you tell them that which is right as a general principle, that they can say, aha, yeah, that makes sense. And then it's for them to go away and think about how they're going to reconcile this, aha, that makes sense, with other things that they have been taught, and they perhaps have been teaching others as well. So I think I've said enough in terms of some general principles. What remains is for us to now look at some specific points. Naturally, when you want to give dawah and you start giving dawah, you practice these general principles, you are going to come across some responses from others. And you're going to want to know how to answer the questions and the objections and so on that will be thrown at you. Before I do that, I want to just share with you something which I promised in my afternoon talk that I'll deal with tomorrow, and I will still deal with it tomorrow because I promised that. But I think for a Muslim audience, it will not be redundant to go through this twice, so to make sure that everyone understands it. And I see my brother Nazam and Kashif there and Brother Paul. from London. I know this will be very